Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another installment of the build the Willys MB Jeep. Now this is the World War II Jeep, only available from IXO collection in 1/8 scale. It's the largest Jeep out there as a model kit, and I'm really having a blast building this. I would like to thank Rick Gregory, who is also building this on his channel, and I'll put a link in the description below to his channel. If you would, do me a favor, head over to Rick's YouTube channel and subscribe to his channel. He's got some great tutorials there on how to build this Jeep, and he's really given me a lot of great feedback on building this kit, and I really appreciate that, Rick. Thank you very much. So let's do Rick a favor, everybody. Head over to his channel and subscribe to his videos and give him your support. Anyway, so let's go ahead and continue with this build. 5 more stages will be built. Stages 56 through 60. This is where I'll continue on the interior and the electronics of the main body of the Jeep here. So, before I actually start the build, I'll go ahead and give you a little introduction on what you'll need to do to prepare your Jeep for these next parts to be installed. So we'll start with that first. I'll be right back. Please pause the video. Only a small percentage of you subscribe to my channel. Subscribing to my channel really helps me out. And while you're at it, smash that like button. Now let's get on with the show. Okay, so this seat right here is going to mount down on top of your battery compartment. And note, the wires are hanging out and showing, and I have bare terminals here. I want to protect those terminals and plus lock in those connectors. So once again, I'm going to use some tulip slick on those, and I'm going to hide these wires underneath and out of the way. I'll show you what I did when I'm done. Okay, so I protected the switch contacts, and I went ahead and tuliped the connectors to protect those, and the wires are all kind of hidden out of the way and folded back, so you can kind of see that looks like both sides. Here's what the wires look like after I've secured them with the tulip slick and also protected some of the open contacts. Note that I'll have to be very careful when I install the seat pins here into that pin there. It should just go right through, no problem. I'll just be extra careful with that. And that's what the seat looks like installed with it folded down. When it's folded up and the cushions are installed, you won't even see the on and off switch back there. So that's how that looks so far. Now we'll mount the clutch pedal and the brake pedal. Now to make this a little easier, I put the clutch pedal on the mount bracket first, and now I'm going to mount it to the chassis with my DM screw. The way to do that better is, I don't see a better way to do it because it's hard to get this screw in from this angle with this bracket in the way. And these 2 screws are a little bit loose, so that way the pedals can move. And there's your pedals. There and there. Perfect. Okay, so it's a little fiddly. Take your time with it and you'll get it. Make sure that for both of these mounts, that the mounts themselves are tight, and that's these 2 screws right here. But for the pedals themselves, if I actuate the brake, I want to make sure that screw that's mounting the brake pedal to the mount bracket is loose. Don't tighten it down. So when you actuate it, that's what it does. Now if you wanted, you could put some thread locker over here in the holes to try to lock the threads in on those screws. And I hope those tips were helpful to you on preparing for this next stages that we're going to be doing. So let's head over and start off on stage 56. Stage 56, I'll work on the rear seat back cover. Pretty simple here. We're just going to install that onto the seat frame, and we're going to put in those screws again. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Here it is once again. Very nice. Let's get a closer look. EM screws, and here's that seat back cushion, and you can note that the screw holes are already pre-drilled for us. I'll go ahead and install this on the seat back frame right here, and note that we do have the holes already pre-drilled in the frame. I'll do that off camera and I'll be right back. And this will just snap in place. And I'll go ahead and put those screws in. And there you go. So I would suggest that you put in the 2 screws on the ends first. Also, take your take one of your screws and start all your threads first in all the holes. Get them started, get your threads cut, and then go ahead and lay down your material and put your screws in. Be patient and easy so you don't break the screws, but that's what it looks like. Let's head over and do stage 57. Stage 57, I'll install the rear seat cushion. Just going to put 2 screws on it. Then we're going to go ahead and mount that to the chassis. Here's the parts for 57. Let's get a closer look. CP and FM screws, and a close view of the seat bottom, made of plastic. Alright, we'll install the seat cushion. Just do a little test fit, and you basically want it to cover the whole bottom of the seat like that. So if you'll see how it looks this way, we're going to line up the holes. CP screws go into this. There you go. That's how that looks. Now we'll go ahead and mount this into the chassis. We're going to use FM screws for that. I'm going to go ahead and mount this seat onto the chassis, and like I said before, I'm going to be careful with the wires here as this goes down. And the last one, I did put oil on the screw, 3-in-1 oil. You could use sewing machine oil if you like. There we go. Looks good. And the back seat is installed. That completes stage 57. Let's do 58. I'll install the armrests for the front seats. That's what that looks like there. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Here's the parts. Let's get a closer look. And here's the armrests. They're made of plastic and DM screws. You could take and airbrush these armrests a tan color, which I may do. And here they are, airbrushed. I think they look good. They're not going to be exactly the same color, but they're close. Here's the colors I used. Monument Hobbies Pro Acro Golden Brown for the base color, and then I lightly misted over that with the buff XF57 from Tamiya. And there you go. Both armrests are installed, and they look pretty good after I painted them. And they were installed with 2 DM screws each. So that completes stage 58. Let's head over and do stage 59. And for stage 59, I'll install the radio mount and the radio plate. Here's the parts. Assemble the radio mount itself and plate. Install it on the floor, put some screws in on the back side. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 59. Let's get a closer look. CP screws, the legs for the radio mount, and it's made out of metal. And the mount itself is plastic. Here's our mount here, and we want to make sure we have it situated with the two small screws on the bottom, and the legs themselves will go down just like that. I'll put in 2 CP screws. And the last one here. That's what that looks like there. Now I'll go ahead and install this in the back of the Jeep. And the radio mount will key into these 2 small holes on the floor and the hole on the side. CP screw will mount it to the fender well area. 2 CM screws go into this. And the next one, I put some 3-in-1 oil on this. That completes stage 59. Let's head over and do stage 60. Now we'll build stage 60, which is the final stage for this video. We will be installing the primary circuit board, or the PCB, and some wires and fair leads. There's the parts. That's how that looks. And I'll take you through it step by step. This is a 2-pager, so here's the next page. Continuing on with that, hooking up all the wires. Looking good. And there you go. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 60. Let's get a closer look. And we'll look at the wires here separately, but here's our PCB. And I'll show you how that installs underneath the Jeep chassis. We have the fair leads, and these will lock our wires in place. CP screws, JM screws, and SM screws. Wire G, or 60D, is the part number for this. This is the shorter harness. The longer harness, wire A, or 60E. And 60B is our little switch for our brake tail lights. It's a little micro switch. Here's our PCB board, and you want to have the H here closest to this side, and we'll slide that down in there just like that. Here's the GM screw. And 60B with our little contact switch for the brakes. That will go in right there. Just like that. 60E, the longer harness, that'll go in right beside it. Just like that. 51I goes into slot D on the board. 51J goes into slot E on the board. And there they both are. 51I and J, that's these two wires, and 60E will slot into this area right here, and a fair lead will lock it down. It locks in on the right side there, and an SM screw locks it down on this side. I put some oil on that screw. Next, this micro switch will mount to the brake pedal mount, and that's this right here. It has an alignment tab and a screw hole. Yeah, CP screw is tightened down here. That's what it looks like. I'll actuate the brake pedal, and it should actuate that switch. Perfect. And that's why it's important you leave that screw loose for the rotation of the brake pedal. This one right here. Okay, on 51E you have this female plug, and 51E on the other wire you have the male plug, and they're going to slot together. Next. Just like that. And just note that your green wires match the red wires. And 60E wire goes right there. And an SM screw goes into that. That's what both of those fair leads look like. One here and one right there. And we're going to hook up our last two wires. Okay, we'll take our 60D wire, which is a shorter harness. We're going to mount that right here. Perfect. And lastly, 52D, which comes off our battery compartment, and that's going to mount right there. Perfect. Now we should be able to test our lights. Go ahead and test these lights. In my left hand are the headlights, and in my right hand are the tail lights and brake lights. I'll go ahead and turn on the battery switch, which is on the bottom back there. So it's on. Now we'll go ahead and just turn on our lights, and there's a little push button on the dash that we put in, and there we go. There's your red tail lights and your headlights. Now I'll go ahead and push on the brake pedal, and there we go, your brake lights. And you can see your dash lights are on. And I'll have to do some light blocking for that. And that's your dash lights. I need to throw some more paint on there. I put some paint on there already. XF67 NATO green. And there's the NATO green Probably can go with a little darker olive drab, which I'll find and paint them with that. And that completes this video. I completed stages 56 through 60. Got a lot done here. We got the wiring and all that done here. The main circuit control board. Went ahead and neatened up some of the wires with some tape temporarily. We did an operational check of our lights. Everything worked great. Just going to do a little more light blocking for the dash lights, but looks fantastic. If you think you'd like to get this for yourself, head over to IXO Collections and purchase this kit today. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.